97.3 Citi FM. Relevant radio, always.
Ghana is not the only country that is concerned about the quality of education. Every country is concerned because the trend tends to be worse in the third world countries, and of course Ghana is one of them. So what we have to do is to begin to look at the future and see what it is that we can do to improve the quality of education, especially reading skills. And what I'm saying is this: the time has come where we need to really decentralize the process of managing schools in the country. And if we begin to look at the districts, let's say we have 200 districts, we need to now equip it with people who understand what education is and begin to put in the effort to make sure that things happen. What I'm saying specifically is this: in addition to the 38 teacher training institutions that we have in this country, every district needs to have one, because we cannot have enough training centers. And even that, we need to have clusters of schools that come together so that, let's say, the math teachers are together as a group, we know and we can identify them. The science teachers can come together as a group, we know them, we can identify them, and so is English teachers. And then what we have to do is that begin to now develop the appropriate teaching and learning materials, and now begin to also use even computers, ICT. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to teaching and learning materials, there are a lot of exercises that teachers do in classrooms. They do them on the board and they erase them. All these have to be captured with ICT in terms of what it is that we can teach the next time around. And then the other thing too that we also have to do in this country, and this project that I've done in Accra, is where at a particular time, let's say between 8 and 9, everybody in the school reads. And the only people who might not be reading at that time might be those who are cooking. But everybody needs to be reading and to be seen reading. You see, children watch us. We can talk all day long about how they, why they need to read and the rest of it. But we are the role models. They want to see us in a position where we are reading, and not only that, we are enjoying what it is that we're reading. So these are the things that we have to do. Another project that I've done in this country, which is also good, is that we have to begin to have the children publish their own stories. You know, where, for example, in a particular school where we had P4, P5, and P6 writing their essays and stories and then being published, so that when these same kids were in JHS1 or JHS2, their books were being taught as bona fide reading materials in that same school. What it does is that we boost confidence in knowing that since someone else has done it at that age, we too can do it. But the time has come where we have to begin to look at our own stories so that we are not overly dependent on importing books from India or China or Singapore or any of these other places. We've been independent since 1957. And now the least that we can do is to begin to package some of our own materials, our teaching and learning materials, so that it's saturated through the system. So I'll repeat that when we begin to put people in particular positions in the district assemblies and that sort of thing, we also need to bring in people who education means something to, you know, and then we have to be in the forefront. But there has to be a national campaign. There have to be platforms, there have to be billboards all over the country that take education seriously, reading to learn so that we can learn to read. All of these things have to be part of the package, you know. And I keep saying the amount of time and money that we spend on political campaigns, why don't we spend these things on literacy campaigns in the country? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which party you belong to. It will benefit all of us, because these are our children. These are not children that drop from Jupiter. They are our children, and what it is that they have to do is very, very important. And we have to be there in a very supportive position. You know, it always breaks my heart when you're driving down the streets and you have young people who are carrying things on their heads. You know, we shouldn't be doing that in 1957. You know, the human neck was not made to carry things like that. And it's only in third world countries, in African countries, we accept these things, but we shouldn't accept it. It's not right, you know, so that we begin to develop the grey matter. You know, many times, again, I always cite the example of, let's say, Finland, for example. They don't have gold, they don't have timber, they don't have bauxite, they don't have diamonds, they don't have oil. But my goodness, they have a better standard of living than we do. They live longer than we do. They don't have the kinds of diseases that we have. They don't have open gutters. What did they have? They have Nokia. And Nokia, as a product that is produced by Finland alone, is enough to cover our export earnings, or more than our export earnings in gold, timber, diamonds, and the rest of it. The same with Singapore. They don't even have a mainland, but they focus on developing the grey matter. I think the examples are all around us. It's going to take a certain kind of commitment that Ghana is one of the richest pieces of land in the world. But the mindset to raise our young people, that mindset is poor. We begin to just give promises, and many times these are promises that we know we can't keep. So these are the concerns for this country. But the number one is that we have to begin to decentralize and begin to look at ways in which you're going to have effective education, and it's not going to be the way we've done it in the past. Like Einstein said, you know, the mark of folly is to continue doing the same things over and over again and expect a different result. We have to change the dynamics. We are at an inflection point in education, and we have to begin to look at the things that we can do now that to make our situation better than it's been in the past.
97.3 Citi FM. Relevant radio, always.